Hi, and welcome back to the Race Coordinator Race Tutorials. In this tutorial we're going to talk about a sprint race. It's a fairly simple formatted race. I thought I'd show you how to set it up. It's unique in that it uses it uses a different heat rotation and a different scoring method than pretty much the rest of the races that we've seen so far. So thought it was worthwhile showing you just to get you a feel for exactly how configurable a Race Coordinator is. So as always, we're going to start with our round robin tutorial, and we're going to start with our round robin tutorial, and we're going to rename it. We're going to call it a sprint race, and with that we get all the other stuff for free. So we're going to come down to the heat rotations, and the first thing about a sprint race is that what we want to do is we're going to allow, we're going to show off one of the different heat rotations, specifically single lane, solo, any lane. Again, from the previous tutorials, you learned that a single lane race is a race in which the drivers only race once and only once on one lane for the entire race. So they're in one heat, one lane, that's it. There's single lane solo, meaning they do that exact thing, but they race by themselves. Single lane without the word solo means they race with all the other lanes filled. And then there's single lane solo any lane, and now that one's different in that basically, as you can see down here, the heat structure, they're listed, the same drivers listed in all the lanes, and that is because they can trigger laps in any lane they want as fast as they can, as much as early as often as they want. Well, what good is that? Well, it's not terribly useful if you're using something like the normal scoring system like lap counting. However, if you're doing what we're going to do here for our sprint race, which is the fastest lap, well, it can be very useful. Let the driver pick their favorite lane. As they're running laps, they're ticking off their best times, and if they decide they don't like the lane for some reason, they just pick up their car and move over to the next lane. The second they start the race, every lap is ticking off time, so you can't even cheat it in terms of picking up the car, you can just pick it up and literally put it back on the track anywhere, because the first lap is always going to be reaction time, and then after that the timers are running. So if they pick up the car and move to another lane, the very next lap they trigger in any lane will be really long, because it'll have they haven't triggered a lap in for a long time. So that's it. That is our single lane sprint race. I mean, it's as simple as that. You set it up for a fastest lap time instead of a lap count. You in this case, we're going to let them run for three minutes. You might let them, you might change this to a lap limit and make them run, make them only run for 5 laps. So the fastest of the 5 laps they trigger. But I'm going to leave it as a 3-minute race and let them, run as many laps as they can in 3 minutes, trying to get their fastest time. And that's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to say add here. And we have our sprint race, and since it's so simple and so easy, I'm going to show you real quick what it looks like. So we're going to run it and see. I believe the demo mode, which is enabled, is going to behave kind of funny. It's going to trigger laps on all the lanes sort of simultaneously, as if the driver's running on all 4 at the same time, and that's fine.
5,
That's not really
4,
what happens here.
3,
Again, you can see
2,
20s in every lane.
1, go.
Again, this is looking for the fastest lap. So what's going to happen here? 20 triggers laps.
New lap record.
Oh, interesting. I have accumulate on.
New lane record.
All 4 lanes. Interesting. Okay, no problem. We'll just close this out. We'll go back to we'll go to manage race once more. Yeah, so clearly you're not going to want to accumulate lap time, fastest lap time. So what it was doing there, just so you know, is it was accumulating the lap counts on each of the lanes. So if I hadn't run on one of the lanes, it wouldn't have happened. So we're going to remove accumulate, and this is an interesting thing to show you. We're going to remove accumulate, and instead of creating a new race, I'm going to say update. As soon as the hourglass goes away, now that race is changed to a non-accumulate race. So if I switch between, for example, I go to the round robin grouping, you can see accumulate is checked. When I come back to the sprint race, it is no longer checked, so we're good. So we're going to run that race again. So here we are.
5, 4,
and
3,
this time what we'll
2,
see on the leaderboard should
1,
be,
go.
Simply the fastest lap across all 4 lanes. So
New lane record.
4.22, 4.22. Now we've got a 3.04. You see all these other lap times are basically
New lane record.
and the fastest lap will always be the best lap time here. And in fact, this particular race day screen is sorted by best lap, so that should always be on the top. At least assuming I've got the basically the default race day screen. So this is a 3-minute heat. We're not gonna let him run for too long. He's got a 3-minute 04.
Yellow flag.
Pause this, and then you can't skip the heat until it's paused. So now I pause
Heat
it,
over.
skip it. Now you can see driver 19 is up, and I'm gonna say
5, 4,
again. I'm
3,
just showing you
2,
how this
1,
is working. I'm gonna skip
go.
this in a second here, but here's our leaderboard. He's got a 3.25. That's his fastest time.
Best heat lap.
3.05. He's almost got the record, or the highest, the fastest lap.
New lane record.
And that's it. So this is very good. The sprint race is a very good qualifying race for your different races. So if you were doing a
New
race
lane
event,
record.
it's a very good way to qualify. You let the guys go as fast as they can for however long you want them to run for. And you can see now driver 19's got a 3:02.1 lap time, which is faster than the 3:04.1, so 4.4 rather. So he is now the number 1 seed. So if we were running, this is an event which I'll show you in another tutorial later. This, you can use fastest lap as your seeding for that event, and it's a really
New
fun
lane
event.
record.
So it's pretty entertaining. So that's it. That's a sprint race. Hope you
2 minutes
found this
left.
tutorial useful, and I hope you find our race coordinator useful.